Hello, and welcome to Depth Perception. We discuss movies and dive into how films direct the way we experience them. We create a perception of sound, a perception of sight, with a dimension of mind. We move into a land of both shadow and substance, of themes and ideas. Mr. Vosley here again with the Tin Man and K-Max.
Pleasure to be here.
Good evening.
Yes. Last episode of the third season here.
Oh.
Wow.
So today we have our listener appreciation episode and have chosen Perfect Blue. It's a 1997 psychological thriller directed by, once again,
Satoshi.
we apologize for how we butcher these names. Satoshi Kon? Sounds
about right, yeah.
I hope. Apologies all around. So this is also, I believe, our first Japanese anime movie. I think, right?
Yeah.
So I'm super excited to discuss it. I've watched it twice. We just got done watching it. K-Max and I watched the thing right before recording here.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my second time watching it. Tin Man's watched it, a baker's dozen?
3 and some change.
3 and change, okay.
He kept pausing it, though.
So our listener that suggested this movie...
He's just looking at me like, come on, man.
I hope he's okay with being recognized by name, but it's good friend, good cousin, Devin. He sent us this message. I highly suggest one of my all-time favorite films, Perfect Blue. It's an anime film that I'd love to hear you guys discuss. I think it has a lot of themes and ideas that you guys could pick apart. I know anime is different from what you usually watch, but this one is something I think you guys would find really interesting. So I think we did find it interesting.
Yeah, very much so. Very much.
Don't know if I've ever heard of this movie before he suggested it. Had you guys?
No. I've never heard of this movie.
No, it feels...
It's 97. Nope. No, it's not a series.
I've heard of Perfect Dark.
Pitch Perfect.
Pitch Perfect.
One of my favorite bands, Perfect Circle. Also my shape. This is perfectly Nephew Devin. And a little bit perfectly Nephew Edjon.
Yeah.
So this is perfectly categorized.
Yeah.
I never made the connection of the suggestion until now, and I'm thinking, of course.
Of course. All right, Tin Man, let's get a ding.
Stop playing with your dinghy.
We'll talk about, of course, our initial reactions, favorite scenes. What the title means to us. We're going to discuss different broad themes together and figure out where we personally connect with the most. And then we'll what scenes are most important for your understanding of the movie. And we're not saying that we completely understand it, but what sticks out to us when we're trying to figure it out. So only a handful of points here, but I think we're going to go... each one's going to have some weight to it.
Yeah, probably.
All right.
Some meat on its bones.
Yep. Initial reactions. What do you got? Tin Man, I know you were... You watched it before I even knew that any of us had watched it yet.
Yes,
you watched it like 3 times
kind of
already.
planning on watching it, and I was like, I know I have time to watch it now. So I, by myself... And all the kids were in bed. I was like, oh, easy. I got the TV to myself. This will be easy enough. So I threw it on. It was hard following the story because I tried really hard to go when her reality's breaking, versions of her are in and out of the story, and following the plot was like my baseline. Okay, how am I going to try to follow the baseline plot for this story? And I could not keep up. I'm like, oh, this isn't her. Oh, she's in the show. Oh, wait, this is going on. And I found myself paying like extra attention to every detail I could I watched it in Japanese, and then I watched it in English, reading the caption. Actually, I started off in Japanese, trying it that way, and a few minutes in, I switched and then watched it again in Japanese just to make sure I didn't miss anything. But I did watch it both directions, English and then Japanese again, then English again. But it was intriguing. It was interesting. It did have very strong horror elements, which I like, the horror adjacent categories. And it did not disappoint. I had a blast watching the movie. I thought it was cool. I thought the game we were playing of being like, who's who, what's going on? The game they had me playing mimicked that of the character throughout the entire back half of the story.
Okay.
But that was my initial reaction, was like, I've seen 3 or 4 different anime movies that are right in that window that have the very similar type of style of drawing and everything for it. That were all really solid. I'm like, that's some top tier cartoon drama TV movies right in that 90s window of Japanese anime. And I really enjoyed it all the way through. I got lost, thought I got back on the trail, fell off, thought I got back on to where everything was going, and had a whole slew of notes for myself the second time I watched it to try to see where I lost or where I caught back on, or if I was following a red herring and it was the wrong thread I was pulling. But that was a whole fun process, just trying to go through that. But that's
Nice.
My initial reaction.
Yeah, because because you asked me if I had seen it yet. I was like, no, and you're like, yeah, I've seen it 3 times. I'm like, oh, okay, all right, Tim, man.
I was like, oh, you're really gonna have to pay attention to this one.
I didn't look into any breakdowns or anything. I'm banking on Tin Man to at least have gone through a couple of them. So I'm excited to see the difference in perception between not only us, but the intentions of a filmmaker from a different culture and a different time and culture too. So I know you said you kind of looked into it already. So it's going to be cool to hopefully get a side-by-side live comparison of what we thought versus what maybe the intention was, or whatever you had found out during your plunges into some research. So before I go further, I want to hear K-Max, because this is fresh. 15 minutes at most.
Yeah, no, I just watched it. I liked it a lot. It's not my cup of tea, my normal cup of tea. I find with certain, it's almost like a music type. I think film can be that way. For me to say, oh, it was great and everything I wanted, it would be like saying that I really enjoy country music. I like it enough. And there's some really great country music that I'm like, man, that was my artist. I could go to that show. But when I talk about this kind of movie right here, I feel like a hypocrite saying, yeah, this was great. But I can't help myself. It was a great movie. It's definitely not my genre ordinarily. It's definitely out of my comfort zone. It's definitely not something I was looking forward to watching, for sure, because it's just not something I dipped my foot in the pool. But I'm sitting here saying, I hate that I liked it so much. I hate that it kept my attention from the word go, kept me awake. You guys have met me, kept me right on the edge of my seat. I was literally sitting at the edge of the couch here watching it to try to make sure I wasn't missing something. And I liked the way that it actually, and maybe this is typical of this type of film, it messed with me, but it spoon-fed me to keep me on the trail. Let's put it this way. Almost like Frankenstein's monster, letting Victor chase him and feeding him and providing things for him so that he stayed in the pursuit and didn't lose his pursuit. That's how I felt watching this. It was like it gave me enough to keep me feel like I was still close to following it. But then it would switch something on me and oh, it blew my mind.
Yeah.
But it would keep me in the hunt by giving me just enough to say, no, you're still okay. It would let me slip back into character and give me another hint, no, this is really happening. This is what's going on. I'm like, okay, I'm not totally lost. I'll stay. Just when I was ready to check out and say, okay, this is like Terminator, just go back to the very beginning. Well, you'd have to go to the beginning. Well, then I would get frustrated with those kind of movies. That's what it would start feeling like. And then it would break me back down into give me some footing again, if that makes any sense.
It does.
So I really appreciated that, the filmmaker doing that. But I also appreciated, which is odd, getting fooled. Like Tin was saying, it felt neat, and like you get thrown off. You're like, God, it's not what I was thinking at all. And I remember you did say something about like felt Shutter Island-esque, and that's one of my favorite movies. Well, not one of my favorite movies. It's a movie that moved me and made me feel like I did not see that more than Sixth Sense ever did. You know what I mean? Like, oh my gosh, like made me almost like throw up, like just feeling like, oof, that is such a twist that I didn't see it coming. This had moments like that, and I got another confession. I think I've underestimated this type of film to be able to do that for me. Now, I underestimated another way to be able to do other things for me. I was like, what? And watching, I'm like, that is some good drawing. Drawing is awesome. Art is great. And I'll stop right there.
So yeah, the first time I saw this
You're
was
welcome,
with
Dev.
it was with Tin Man, and it was like I was casting a lure out there and seeing if something caught it, and I can kind of hold on and then get another fishing rod with a different lure and cast that one out there. That's what it felt like I was doing with this movie.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like I had a line of fishing rods with different strings with different lures to see which one got a little nibble. I can kind of pay more attention to, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, yeah. I know exactly what you mean.
So-
I still have to cast one at a time. That's why I watched it so many times. And I'm like, okay, I gotta follow this thread down. Like, nope, that didn't work out. Let's try it again.
And then it was like some of them would nibble at different times, so then I have to try and connect what I've built so far to each one to see how far to take those different threads or different ideas.
Your theme seeds.
Yeah, my theme seeds. So using that though, it was fun to break out like the tools again. My perception tools for movies. It was good to use those again. I relate to like when we did Skinamarink and Mother. It was kind of like trying to find your way through those by reaching deep in the bag of tools to figure out,
Yeah,
okay,
and the
if this
movie
means
was
this, if
and
this
the
is
movie
shown
was
that
much
way.
more enjoyable than both of those. At least in my perception, it was much more enjoyable.
So before I go into favorite scenes, I asked you guys to come up with 4 words that best describe what you initially thought this movie was about. So I wanted to do this before we have our discussion to see if any of these change or not. You guys have four words. I know K-Max, you're fresh. So Tin Man, we'll keep this order here. Tin Man, me, and then K-Max.
Sounds good.
We're gonna go with
Without any explanation either, just 1, 2, 3, 4.
identity,
Okay.
pressure,
Okay.
obsession,
Okay.
trauma.
Okay.
Look at that.
Okay, that's going to be a handful of like the general themes.
Yeah.
All right. So identity, pressure. I have change, and I have gaze, like
Ooh.
Gaze.
Oh, that changes. No.
It's another topic altogether. Yeah, I'm going to go with fame,
I like that one.
identity, reality, and vicarious.
Vicarious.
Good one.
That's the one that I couldn't think of that I was searching for while you guys were talking.
Okay.
That might be my if I had to say which one would you really go with, that's the one I think is
I like that.
vicarious.
Yeah. So I wrote those down so we can reference them at the end here. All right, favorite scenes.
One of my favorite scenes. Mm-hmm. I said it when guys were watching it. I go, I think that's my favorite scene. It's when Mimania, or the stalker, Mimania, they pronounce his name Mimania in the English version. Probably in the Japanese version too. When he starts talking to Mima in Mima's room. I'm going to air quotes Mima because we're assuming it's Rumi talking back to him, pretending to be Mima on the chat on the computer, and he's getting crazier because it doesn't reveal how crazy he is. He just looks like he's awkward and obsessive. Then you realize his perception of reality is very off when he has all these photos of her on the wall and they start talking to him. Oh, we need your help. Oh, there's an imposter pretending to be me. And it's really her. But the idolized version that he has of her is tarnishing this image, you know, and she's claiming on the app or on the computer that it's actually an imposter doing all this stuff and that she needs his help to get rid of her, to kill her so that kill the imposter so that the real her can survive. And then the ghost version of her shows up and like, thank you so much, like rests on his shoulder. And I'm like, wait, he can see Ghost Mima too? Like I was like, so I was like, oh man, like I just thought that was like a perfect like Psycho like scene. Like it's well done. I understood the plot a little bit. It kind of was a little key, that scene for me, like seeing all the characters. I'm like, wait a minute, who's, because I wasn't sure if is Mima in her head doing all these things. Like I was still lost. Still lost. I'm still lost. But that scene there kind of helped open up. I'm like, okay, this guy is really crazy. Someone else is talking to him through this. I thought he was writing it from her point of view for a little while, and I
thought that too.
And I'm like, oh no, he's just responding to someone pretending to be Mima, and it's probably it's Rumi. that's I'm assuming it's Rumi who's talking to him, trying to get rid of her now. Like now the plot is you need to kill the imposter because I need you to help me, And I just thought that was a perfect crazy Psycho scene showing how far out of touch he is, how obsessed he is, how homicidal he is,
It reminded me of Silence of the Lambs when we first go into like the basement underground of Buffalo Bill.
Yes.
And like you see like the old well there and you see like the weird music and everything. Like that's what it felt like.
Oh,
that
like when he's
atmosphere. Like,
yes.
Like, oh, this is the layer of this guy.
Yeah. Oh, that's what's behind all the closed doors that he doesn't let anyone look at.
Yeah.
Oh.
I kept thinking over and over with that scene how remarkable and how many flowers I would be giving the filmmaker if it was not Japanese animation.
Right.
I'd be thinking this is brilliant filmmaking and it's making me feel maybe the psychological frailty of these characters.
Yeah.
If it were a genre I was more comfortable with and more familiar with. So then I kept in myself as I was watching it thinking, I'm always willing to admit when I'm wrong. I almost want to have a podcast saying where the guests come on and say, like a political podcast, and say like, my name is so-and-so, and I'm willing to admit I might be wrong on foreign policy here. And then have a discussion about it where they can back up. I think that about this movie is, my name is K-Max, and I'm willing to admit that I might be wrong about Japanese anime. And just all versions of it and all messages that it can tell, because I thought that the filmmaking was just like some of those scenes, like that one right there was. There was one scene also where was it Mania, whatever the guy's name was actually, as he was typing, his mouth was moving when the voice of
Rumi or
Mima
was talking to him.
So in my head it's like chicken or the egg. Who made who here? And I love that it made me think that too. And I'm thinking I have to get out of the idea that I'm watching a cartoon here. I'm watching I'm like stopgap, and it's great, like Tim Burton movie. I think those are really good, and I give those a little more credit because they're just more familiar with me. I'm more familiar with them. And yet this, I always held somewhat against it, and I thought, this can't tell me anything. This can't challenge me. But it knocked it out of the park with that, as far as that goes. There's still questions I have, but it was engaging enough to keep me there. And I guess when it's my turn for the favorite scene,
go for it.
I can explain a little bit why I don't know if this is hallmark of these style of movies or not, but I remember watching like Star Blazers and watching a lot of like Voltron and a lot of these kind of those type of characters, as close to that as I've gotten in my life. And I remember having these far out tales and these far out storylines and characters and just things that you, but at the end of almost every episode, there was always like a statement or a time when they all either laughed or a statement that brought it all together, like, and now we're back. We took you on this ride and now we're back. And I think my favorite scene was the very ending scene, was when she looked in the mirror and took her glasses down and said, "I'm me," type of thing.
Yeah.
It's like, in a lot of psychological thrillers, that moment is reserved for the throw doubt in your mind. Are they really them? But I felt like this one was like, it felt like it put me to rest, saying, okay, she's healed, whatever the trauma was, whatever the identity was, whatever the, the imposter's gone, the psycho stalker's gone, and, she's visiting, she's just leaving this psych ward or whatever, and now she's going, and you hear the people talking, that looks just like this celebrity, you know what I mean? She goes out in their car and like assuring the uneasy audience that I'm me. Maybe that's not what they were trying to do, but that's what it was for me. And I thought, wow, thank you for that scene, because I was on this ride and I was almost exhausted.
That
saying,
was the only time she ever looked right at the camera, though.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't.
Like she said it to the lens in the mirror.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't follow. I can't follow. It's almost like a reward saying, you took the ride, you're okay. And I'm like, thank you for thank you from such a surface level moviegoer as myself for making me reset my reality. But what a cool thing to say about a movie, though, that it took you on a journey so much that you're like, you wanted to keep asking questions about it after. Mm-hmm. And it made me think a lot when we chatted a little bit about how, again, if you know Vaz, K-Max, and 10, we're all very busy. We try to do a good job on this. I think we do a good job. But like sometimes it's tough. Some weeks are tough because we get busy. Jobs, family, and whatnot. But to see someone as stressed and stretched as you are, so enthusiastic about it, I'm like, I couldn't wait to watch it. Mm-hmm. But I just never had any windows until like right now to watch it. And now I see the root of that enthusiasm after having watched it. Another scene I liked was, I don't mind saying it, it wasn't anything real bad, but it was one of the photo shoots. I was like, animation and things like that shouldn't make you feel this way. I was like thinking to myself, as much as any scene in any movie, I thought this is very it's racy or whatever, and
risque.
And I can giggle plenty about it, because if you met me, but at the same time, it's like it's an animated thing, and I'm like, this is very well done. This is very well done. Because it's trying to portray like a betrayal, like she's gone from pop star, this innocent little giddy pop star, and like they keep making reference to just how trashy she is now, and sort of bring that to life. They have these little montage scenes of taking pictures or whatever. I'm like that. I'm like, I got to go to art school.
All right, Tin Man. How about
okay,
like any other scenes?
There was a bunch in the running. There's a stretch where there's a stretch in the movie where she's acting. She's doing a scene where they're outside, and there were she keeps saying like these illusions, they can't hurt you in reality, and it cuts from something that's going on, and it's like take one, and it resets. She wakes up in her house, realizes something tragic happened, and then all of a sudden it blends into the scene again, and she's acting. Or she messes up a scene, and they're like, oh, come on, we got to start from the top.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, oh, no, it's Rumi. And he's like, what are you talking about? You messed up the scene again. Take two. And I was like, oh, there's a whole lot going on here. This is freaking me out. Mm-hmm. And then she gets blamed for a murder. She finds the bloody clothes in her own house. And then take three, And I just thought that was so cool, because I'm like, okay, there's something going on here. Let me try to reset and watch it again. But there was so much at play in those scenes, because I felt like they were switching between Rumi thinking she's Mima and actually Mima waking up in a different bed. And I had to take screenshots of the one bedroom and then the other bedroom, and I'm like, they're close, but they're not the same. And it was a fun little like play that they took me on, this little journey right here. Just that one section That one, I thought that was cool how they did it because it blended right in. You're like, she's talking to someone, someone puts their hand on her shoulder, and I think it's this person, and it's the lady from the show. And it's like, oh, you messed the scene up again. I don't know. They blended the scene, her real life, and all the tragic stuff going around her, like seamlessly. So they kept catching you off guard and pulling the rug out from under you. And I did those 3 or 4 times because they did take 1, take 2, take 3. And I was like, I like all of this that's here. I wish I understood it better.
Yeah, it did feel smart.
Yeah.
It felt, when I was watching it, it felt
very well
smart.
crafted. And I'm like, someone just weaved a really good story here. And I want to understand it more, to appreciate it more. But it felt like it was one of those things where, like, you see a masterpiece and you're like, I don't understand why everybody loves this thing. It's like, well, if you look deeper, understand everything, you'll see it. And it's like, I feel like I'm this close, but I know there's so much out there in this movie that I'm kind of missing. There's more to it, but it was still fun to have that little section.
Super cool. Before I forget, I want to ask you guys a question because there was a scene toward the end where she's running from Rumi, I think was the name, like running. And I always thought it was cool how you would see some versions of Rumi, her chubbiness and the outfit on,
like
running.
in the reflection.
Yeah, and then that's right,
Yes,
that's right.
Yep.
And then you would see the like floating, like the ghostly
like the
image,
version
that
of
kind
her.
of.
Yep.
But like, there's one point in time where I felt like, because what was it? Was it called some Mima's Room? Was that the name of the website?
Yeah, the website. Yeah.
So like, there's one particular time that she looks out her window up at another apartment adjacent to hers, and it almost like it stays there for a while. The shot stays there for a while, as if like she's being watched closely from somewhere.
Like
and
the
then when
camera
she's
backs
running
away
from where she was maybe from Rumi's place, whatever, there's a camera angle that looks like it's looking into her room at one point in time. I don't know if that was a total just me making it up or filling in blanks, but I felt like it was shown for a reason. Like, oh, this is the one who's been authoring the site and stalking, and this is because this is where she watches her from. And I'm like, maybe, I don't know. But I thought that in that last scene, there was a pic as she's walking across that catwalk or that bridge between the two buildings, where you see Mima's apartment looking into the window. I could be wrong, but I just thought if that is the case, if that's the case, that felt like a very video game.
That was one of the big twists where
Easter egg.
She was like not in her room. She thought she was in her room. She was an exact replica of her room.
Yeah.
And that was Rumi's little
really smart movie though, man.
Psycho.
So, I think one of my favorite scenes was actually the elevator death.
Yeah, that was good.
Like that one felt like now I want to say traditional thriller, but like, you know, your scene from Seven,
Yep.
or
Sure
something
did.
along those lines.
That was going to be number 3, and I didn't want to say it because
You mean with the radio?
Vaz.
Yeah,
Yes.
like the echo of it coming down,
Yes.
or down the elevator shaft until
And
it
it's that
opens.
song they were singing from their first song they were singing, "Angel of Love." I think
I
it's
did
called.
not make that connection.
That song, all I could think of was I don't know the name of it, but love me, say that you love me.
Oh yeah.
Fool me.
Yeah.
That song. That's all I could think of.
Anything but you.
Yes.
Bam, bam, anything but you.
But I love that setup too because it still had some threads in there that I could pull on, even in that scene right there. And then they come back later in the movie with other deaths. So I like that one, and then I like anything with the hallucination version of Mima.
I've been calling her Ghost Mima on all my notes.
I called her. I call her Red. I call her Hallucination Mima. I call her Popstar Mima. So if you hear any of those, that's what I'm talking about. But I love the way that she moves, the skipping and
Yeah.
When you first see her,
That like ethereal bounciness that she has.
I like that word.
like when we first see her in the apartment, and she's like, jumps off the balcony, and then you see her like hopping from one street lamp to the next. Like I love that. And then when Mima was chasing her in the building
After the radio show.
Yeah. and she's like skipping like throughout.
Oh,
Like,
the crowd, like
yeah.
just like zipping through the crowd.
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
that all visually, yeah, like it was very aesthetically intriguing to me.
Because
I was
she like,
that's cool.
she even like her arms swing like
Like
this.
her arms
like,
are
yeah.
swinging, or they'd be like behind her back or
yeah.
something. So I thought all those were cool and like magnetic to see on screen.
That was cool. I did like that.
Love Fool, the Cardigans.
There it is.
That's what the Cardigans. Could not move forward unless I figured that, because I love that song.
All right, so we got our initial reactions, got our favorite scenes. So I guess next we're I want to say start, but we're going to go through our toughest topic early in this episode of figuring out what this title means to us of Perfect Blue. So what's funny is I just watched a movie a couple days ago called The Long Good Friday with Bob Hoskins. It's a movie I saw for college course back when I was at almost 20 years ago now. But I always felt that title was odd. Have you guys heard of that movie or no?
What is it?
The Long Good Friday.
I think you mentioned. I think I watched the not music video, the trailer. I think I watched the trailer of it with you.
It's got Bob Hoskins, got Helen Mirren, it's got Pierce Brosnan. But I always thought the title was odd, and I spent some time the rest of that day, whenever I had like mental free time, trying to come up with like a more expressive title. Especially after I read how the way the filmmakers decided on the title that they did. It was kind of like, well, we want to, it takes place around Easter, and it's a homage to was it The Long Kiss Goodbye, I think is another movie title. So I eventually came up with a new title that I would have given it, and it was called Shan's London, and the character's name is Shands, like that's his last name. And I kind of looked into that origin there, and it's like got Scottish and Irish roots, and part of it comes from the word shend, and I guess that's to like shame or destroy. So I was able to make this into a play on words of like this character's kingdom, like Shan's London, like this person's London, this is where he owns. And then Shen's London, so the play on words is like shaming it, destroying it, disgracing it. And so it's got and because the main character is like a crime boss. Mm-hmm. So it was this play on words that I was pretty proud of. I was like, I wouldn't even put the apostrophe there. I would just say Shen's London. So it seemed like it could be played off both ways there.
Yeah.
So I thought it was pretty cool. And sometimes I'll do that exercise to myself and see if I can come up with a better title for some of the movies
cool.
I watch. So I say all of that to lead us to such an interesting and mind-bending title in Perfect Blue. Because I remember after we watched, me and Tin Man watched, he said, what'd you say? It was like, I don't know where they got blue from. Like,
yeah.
There wasn't any ounce of blue in this movie. Something along those lines. And then you mentioned the idea of blue film. I don't know if you want to say it for the pod, like what you found out what blue film
So I was
is.
looking into like where the title possibly could have came from, and there is a book that the movie is based on, and it has a longer title. And I think the book had more references to it where the movie didn't, but it kept the title still.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, like I don't want to bring it up, but blue. One of the things I looked up, like blue work in Japanese culture, refers to more adult, like a red light district, I guess, would be a reference to something like that. But like blue work in Japan is like a little more adult, more risque, more R-rated, I guess. So that was a possible answer to one of the things I was looking up. So I was like, so a perfect and blue, like are almost like two opposing ideas for this idea, because like they have her working in this more adult category and then being perfect the idolized version of her that everybody seems to be having, even of her own self. So that was one idea, but I
Okay. So
printed that down.
so I guess I'll start with you then. So since that was one idea, but I'll ask you, what does this title mean to you then?
So to me, then, so I a lot of the color, like if I were to look at color, was red. Red showed all over the place, and it was almost like times where she was at her most stressed, putting her in the most awkward positions. The radio show that she walks into to see her two friends that she was a part of are now at the top. You know, they're in the top 100 now. They're in the Billboard list, and they have their own radio show, and they're like, hey, everybody, thank you for all the support. It's covered in red, that whole scene. And in that, she sees that third version of her, the ghost meme, I call her, there with her, with all of her friends, looking, you know, in her old outfit, being
As if she was part of the group there
as
too.
if she was part of the
sitting at
group,
table.
right. Or as if like that should have been her. That's where she was at when she was pure and innocent, and not, you know, that ghost talks to her and be like, oh, you're a dirty slut now, you know, stuff like that. But to me, that's at least how I looked at it, was like blue was like that, where the absence of red would be. So like almost like blue and red opposed each other, and that all that red just kept getting, like the scenes kept getting redder and redder, some of them, and it's almost like whatever was perfect and blue version of her is starting to slip away, and the red was almost like the identifier of the innocence she had losing in certain scenes, getting further and further away. At least that's like how I kind of took a shot in the dark at.
I like it. Okay, Max.
I mean, I don't know how to vary from that too much, because perfect blue, it feels like there's a contrast there from her identity early on, from the pop icon. And then blue, I couldn't help but think to myself, because I pick on my brothers all the time, what are you watching, a blue movie? Because it was like a term, you know what I mean? I would say, maybe it's from the Andy Warhol movie, like the blue movie, like the term, but there's an idea of a history teacher, like the Victorian idea of like the color blue being like a little risque, you know, like the
Blue velvet.
yeah, like a blue. I think like
Blue Lagoon?
1800s, like like blue nose was almost like a prude, a term for a prude, and so they took it almost like they went the opposite way, where they were saying, you know, calling any movie or genre or book or literature that was a little bit risque blue.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, in my head, so then like the 60s, maybe 70s, I think maybe 60s. I tried to write it down here. 1969. Andy Warhol's blue movie about, you know, a producer trying to bring porn into the mainstream. You know what I mean? Like the idea of blue. So the idea is I just took these two iconic terms, perfect, the idealistic pop star, and blue meaning what she became, or what the perception was that she was becoming, like, you know, the racy photo sessions and the rape scene in the movie that she was in, the series, whatever she was in, her acting series. It's almost like her fall from one to the other. That's what I mean. I don't know if that's if I can make
Interesting.
I didn't see any other connections for me of perfect blue. Titles are always hilarious because I don't think they're always telling. I think sometimes studio heads come up with titles. I think sometimes I don't think the creators of the work come up with the titles all the time. So I'm less energized and I'm less when we dissect titles. They're great and it's a good conversation, but sometimes I feel like maybe it makes a
They might
connection.
not
Maybe
hold
it's
as
great.
much weight.
Yeah,
as,
maybe not, but I mean, it's a good conversation. But I'm like,
Well, what I like though is Tin Man said that it was based on a book. You said,
It
right?
was- yeah.
That had a Perfect Blue was in that title, right?
It's Perfect Blue something is the title of the book that it was based on.
Yeah.
But it's not I guess it's not a perfect adaptation from the book. It does vary a little bit, I guess, from
there are
what I've
some
read.
things that felt similar to the movie we watched with Clive Owen and with the movie we watched.
Closer?
Yeah, there's certainly like the online persona. That was something that I felt was similar. And then there were some things that made me feel similar. I felt similar to that when I was watching that movie in some ways. trying to find out what was really motivating these characters. I'm like, wait a minute. I always knew there was something with, is it Rumi? The kind of like the mentor, like the washed up idol.
Yes.
I knew there was something about.
Yes,
like,
and she and they only had like one reference to her being a former idol.
Yeah,
like one
like,
sentence really said it.
There's something there, and that's why I use the word vicarious, because I'm thinking there's a danger there. There's a danger there. Someone's trying to live their life through you here.
I know.
Watch out. That's a red flag.
If their eyeballs are over here, keep a lookout.
Isn't that true?
Yep, that was both of our
Those are our antagonists, I guess.
crazy people. So ultimately, I have two main ideas that, to me, they both seem to work, but they're almost completely different from one another. And so who knows if they're anywhere near the intention of the filmmakers. So my first has to do, Tin Man kind of pointed it out, it has to do with the idea of like an oxymoron. Sort of presenting a clash of mindsets. So perfect, referring to Mima's life as a pop star, a perfect static idol that her public sees her as. And then there's blue. In this sense, really has more to do with the opposite of what blue is. Tin Man kind of pointed it out, but I'm going to go into a little color symbolism from the movie here. And that we see much more red. So red gets increasingly more associated with Rumi and what she represents. We can talk about that one in a little bit. So sticking with our oxymoron view on the title, blue is visually and often thematically seen the opposite of what red represents. So you'd see blue as maybe depression, sadness, gloom, melancholy, and red as passion, anger, danger, and extremes. So in this context, when you say perfect blue, it's a clash, a futile struggle to be both perfect, a perfect pop star idol, and deal with a maturing female identity. Is how that felt for me. And the red that you see in the movie too, it's everywhere. Tin Man, you pointed out. So it's pretty much any time that Ghost Mima is present, there's red somewhere in that room encasing regular Mima. The elevator doors with the radio playing had a red floor. The bathroom, when Mima was in there and the ghost Mima visited her and kind of gave her some doubt about her abilities or whatever it was, that whole bathroom was red.
She's on a computer and the wall behind her. Like it shows just all red in front of her face between the wall and her. That was one too.
And I think there's something to the Rumi after Mimanio was killed too. There's something red that I wrote down, but I can't remember now. If I remember that red
Her
reference,
car?
I'll go back to it. But yeah, all that red, and so the blue would kind of be what's opposite of that. So my second idea for what the title says to me has more to do with change and evolution of one's understanding. That's me as the audience watching this, and then Mima as her character going through all of this.
Do you want to hear the title? The full title is Perfect Blue Complete Metamorphosis. Or in Japanese, Kenzen Hentai. Also could be translated as Total Pervert.
Yeah.
Really?
I read that. I had read that.
Okay.
And then that's
That's so interesting.
I read that the total pervert part, like part of there, because you were talking about the book, and I'm like, I did a little homework on the book itself before watching it, and I'm like, if I'm bringing that to the table, because if we're looking at like origins of names, I'm like, let's call it what it is, man. It was like, it wasn't just like we're gonna dash a little bit of pornography in here. I'm like, no, that is central to what's happening here.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
a hammer hitting you in the face. But yeah, total
Or the
pervert
side.
or complete metamorphosis.
Well, let's see how this fits here with what I have. So my own understanding of blue as a symbolic color is what I said earlier, right? Sadness, depression, and such. However, there's a shot towards the end after Rumi is subdued. You know, they're laying in the road. Mima looks up to the sky, right? And dawn is approaching. It's a new morning, a bright blue sky. So I put a bookmark in that when I first watched it. And I think I even mentioned it to Tin Man, you know, oh, bright new day, a new dawn approaches. You know, that's always something to pay attention to. So blue, big blue sky, it's freedom. It's a new day. It's beauty found in the natural cycle of the day. And that's where my idea of change and evolution comes in. If I take the term perfect blue and replace the words with synonyms of how I can now view them within the context of the movie, I can say absolute freedom. So perfect, absolute, blue, freedom. So absolute freedom is what we can say Mima finds when she is able to separate herself from the pressures of society and create her own identity. An identity that's not built through the public's gaze of her. So to me, Rumi is the symbol for those pressures and that gaze, and now she is safely contained. That is no longer how it's no longer a shared pressure of her and Mima. And so, spoiler alert, I see Rumi as a symbol for some stuff we're going to talk about. So those are the two ways that the title spoke to me.
That's cool.
Nice.
And K-Max, I totally get studio interference and all of that.
Oh yeah.
But there was something about this title, though, that I was like, with such a movie that's mind-bending and twists and turns and reality and false reality, something like that, the title must have some weight to what we're watching.
And I think the director had like a screenplay that he did everything himself. And then once the studio gave him only so much money, because it was supposed to be a live action movie, they brought it to I think it was like a TV movie. And then when the budget got cut more, they're like, that's okay, we'll do an animated one. And so he had like a say for every scene, for every, what's it called? I'm pretty sure he had like no real studio interference. I think they gave him like, once they cut the budget down so far, he was like, okay, that's fine. I got full say. And he's like an award-winning director, but that was his debut, was that one.
Interesting.
So Tashi Khan was, at least that's the history I looked into. So yeah.
So I don't know if any of those are close. I don't know how our perceptions line up with the intention. But
I like it.
Like I said, for me, they both of those fit for me the way that I perceive this movie. So I don't know. Maybe we'll get concrete answers one day. All right, we're gonna go through themes. We're not going to dwell too much on these. I'll say what the word is, and you guys will quickly discuss how it's portrayed in the movie, if anything popped out as very important to that theme within what we saw. So first one, I'm going to put it down, and these are just single words. Identity. So I put down here fractured. I've probably said this before, but whenever there's glass or mirror or reflection, pay attention to what's going on, because thematically it almost always means something there. So, broken glass with Rumi, her fractured mind, right? Reflections for Mima, the use of three. So there's always like a split piece of identity happening here. What did you guys see when it came to, like, as the movie presented to us? What did you guys see that connected to identity? Because it was each of our one of the big things that we put for what we thought the movie was about.
Yeah. So I had identity, because what felt like a big driving force for Mima's like decisions and choices is like the public's perception of her. So like her identity to the public was one thing, her identity to herself. At one point she says, I guess the other me did all that. Like, I guess the other me, I don't know what I did. She goes into a depression at one point and was like following Mima's room and was like, oh, it looks like I went shopping yesterday. I guess that's what I'm doing. Like she's now like disconnected from the version of her that's real. and being able to identify who she is. She goes,
I
I'm not
felt
sure
that
if that's
exact-
me anymore.
I felt that exactly also. I felt like identity was one of the scariest things is when you start losing who you are. I think that's one of the scariest things in like reality, not just in a film, but it's a terrifying thing is when you're like, wait a minute, I don't know if this makes sense. I don't know if what I'm feeling right now makes sense. I don't know if I'm in control of this right now.
Yeah.
And this film did a great job of presenting a person who felt themselves losing sense of their identity, like what's real and what's not real. Is this me? Did I do that? Seeing the bloody clothes in the closet, am I capable of this?
Right.
Was I the delivery? Was I
Yeah.
the delivery guy? So the imagery, to me, part of it that was that attracted me to the film was it kept me on my toes as far as trying to see of what's real. Almost like Shutter Island. It's
Yeah.
like I was looking for clues desperately to give me more footing. That's why that last scene was so safe for me to say, okay, now that's who you are. Okay, now we get it. We're on the right timeline now.
So I forgot to mention this with my first interpretation of the title, but I mentioned the idea of the oxymoron being perfect and being blue. The title of the show, Double Bind. So I looked up what that phrase means, and so it's like this idea of trying to fight conflicting messages, and this idea that you can't please both messages that you're receiving.
Oh, wow.
So to me that speaks to both identity and that first interpretation of perfect blue.
Yeah.
But so it's that limbo that you're in of, do I do this for other people? Do I do this for me? Do I even know what's supposed to be expected of me? Do I know what I want? I don't know. Is what I want based on what other people see me as? So that title right there, Double Bind, I think perfectly sums up this conflict of identity that Mima has.
Totally agree.
Let's talk about trauma. Because I know Tin Man, we kind of pulled on some threads when we watched about like the rape scene for Double Bind. Like, was that something that may have been replayed, like in her past?
Right.
Because it was like, okay, stop the camera. We're going to move this angle. Take another look at it. And, all right, take two or whatever it was. And they continue the scene. And, okay, we're going to stop again, move and see it from this angle. All right, here we go. So it felt like the idea of being replayed and redone, like we weren't sure if that had anything to do with something from her past.
Right.
So did you see anything else with like trauma?
So like when that scene ends, it ends with like kind of her just like going like dead eyes, staring into the lights, and just kind of like almost like a give up like face is what she kind of gives at the end of that. And then it like drifts into the light, and then like the ghost Mima kind of like shows her face, and then it keeps going on. And I'm like, wasn't sure. Like a thought was, what if I had a couple like what ifs to try to tie some things together, like something like a real rape had occurred in her past, and it was like almost her brain's way, like a fractured brain's way of trying to understand her in this scenario. What if I make myself a star? I'm actually a Hollywood, what's it called? I'm actually a model. I'm actually an actress.
They even said that in Double Bind,
she played
right?
as a character in the movie. Right. In the TV show that she's in. That's what she said. They're
So
like,
her heart could heal or something like that.
Yep. And so that's why I was like, what if this, like something really tragic like that occurred? And this is her way for her mind to try to heal itself, is puts itself in a character where it's like, oh no, you're actually an actress in a movie series. That's why all these crazy things are happening around you. And then trying to play it through that way.
Do you guys recall what happens in her apartment after that scene?
Is that when she goes back and either the fish are dead? I think the fish are dead, and she destroys the room. She pulls all the curtains down and kind of wrecks the room a little bit.
The fish are dead. And
Okay.
she's crying. And So like I immediately was drawn to that of like, I mean, those types of fish, they ain't doing nothing. They're innocent little fish. Just, you feed them however often, they're in the background. They're doing their thing. So to me, that was kind of like the death of innocence. And, of course, it occurs right after she films the scene.
Yeah.
So that's what made me put a bookmark there of, is that something from her past then where she kind of reliving that draws the line of, okay, there's no turning back now. There you lost your innocence, you're a new person, and you're in limbo now.
I mean, Rumi must think that too. She was bawling her eyes out when this scene occurred, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And just kept saying, don't do it. She's not going to... Like, Rumi was like the advocate saying, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And I thought that it was a little hasty jump for them to say, if you go from pop star to a movie star, you're going to have to give up all the... Like,
Ooh. Bookmark that.
I'll probably forget it.
Jump.
So
I'm going to write it down
write
for
it down.
you. Jump, pop star to movie star requires nudity, what are you saying? Okay, I put a star there.
all right.
Where did you guys see maturity? So, for me, I saw like sexualization of self when she had that photo shoot, because to me, even though you had the scene that we just talked about, I didn't see that as her accepting herself in a sexualized way until the photo shoot. And it was kind of like, okay, now this is me. I'm in control. Look, I'm posing like this. And so that's what I saw there. And kind of like her blossoming into more adulthood, more mature themes, more, I don't want to say blue material. I more want to say actualization of her as a adult woman. Is how I want to put it.
I think I agree with it. There's almost like more of the one was like victim and one is more empowered. Like, I'm choosing this. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I think there's an important message there too. Like, she's a young lady and she's allowed to be I'm gonna probably hate me for this, but like, she's allowed to be sexual. She's she's of age and you had all these people trying to protect her saying, don't do that because you're gonna have to compromise your morals, and sure enough, there she is getting in that scene in the show. Whereas the photo shoot would seem like more of, I'm taking that back. This is me. This is my choice. I'm doing this. Almost like an empowering thing. Quick before we pass on the scene, I thought it was the actor. I really respected the fact that the filmmaker put that actor in there saying to her, I'm real sorry about this. Like in that scene, he was like over her. And she looked like she was getting a little scared or whatever. And
because the first time through, it looks real.
Yeah.
And then they're like, pause to move the camera.
They're moving the camera, and he's like leaning over her, and he's like, are you okay? He's like, I'm good. He's like apologizing, and she was like, okay. I don't think it was throwaway, so it probably fits in somewhere. But I also appreciated the filmmaker putting that in there. Again, to give me some footing again, to feel like, all right.
That's real now.
That's real, and we have an act, and there are actors that film in these scenes, and we hear the outtakes of them afterwards, like laughing, like when Kit Harington, he was kissing the girl that was the wildling in Game of Thrones. Yeah, and was that his real wife now?
Rose Leslie, I think it's right.
Yeah, but like you hear them talk about like kissing scenes and stuff, and how awkward those scenes are, and even though these weren't real actors, they were animated characters.
Right.
You still had that guy telling her, like, kind of putting her at ease a little bit. Mm-hmm. Say, hey, I'm sorry about this, or are you okay? Checking in on her.
I would to go back to the photo shoot though. I would say that I disagree. I think she feels like I don't want to let them down, so I'm going to do this, even though I don't really want to. But I'm going to put on a good face because as soon as the photo shoot's over, she goes to the bathroom. That's when she's in the tub in that really cool scene where she's just face down in the tub, and then she just yells "bastards" like that way. After that,
Like they took more from her. Like she's taking more. Like
yeah. And she doesn't want to let them down, and you have one manager, Rumi, who's kind of like stopping her, and the other manager, I think his name is Tadakuru, something like that.
sounds right.
And he's like, well, that's the next thing, and they kind of like. It just feels like it's easier for him to get more money the sluttier stuff he does, because it even gets brought up again. Oh, we have another shoot that's
hold on.
that's-
Same bookmark. Sluttier.
I think he said smut, something like that. He said something.
Cross that out. Smutty.
cross that out.
Profitable. Okay, those are all going in the same section.
But I would say that that scene was. I wouldn't say it was more empowering. I felt like it was almost her being like, well,
I want to bring up before the photo shoot of when the two girls that were in the group were like, "Oh, I bet she can't wait to take it off." You know.
Oh yeah, they were kind of like.
Like
and then Rumi
they
hears
know,
them,
like-
and Rumi hears them and shuts them down.
Yeah.
Like right after they say that. Yeah.
So like to me, that's why it was like, well, it was bound to happen. Like I don't know. I feel like that's a very coming from three guys past their
Past their
30s.
primes.
but like that, I mean, that can't be an easy thing to wrangle in, of that transition from, innocent girl to whatever you want to call that with Mima.
Right,
in
right.
that transition there. Can't be an easy thing to wrangle in. All of a sudden you got this, this image, and now how do you be proud of that and have like self-respect? Like how do you balance those? It can't be easy, especially in her position where she's going from perfect pop star to just trying to make it as an actress.
Right. She's going to the bottom rung of this new media she's in. Yeah.
So the other girls have more perspective, seeing it from a third person point of view of Mima, saying, okay, well, she did that scene. She must be willing to do this scene and then pose for these. Like that must be how she wants to break it. Like
she can't wait to take her clothes off.
right.
I think that's
and
what they
like
said about her. Yeah.
Like I said, it's got to be tough to balance all these things. And that's why she's screaming in the bathtub, kind of like, well, I did it. And like when you see her in the photo shoot, like she's smiling, she's doing all these movements without, hesitation. So it's like, I don't know how a character like that goes back to double bind, I guess, of how do you please both of these ideas, these perspectives here of being innocent and then being yourself, being something new.
Right.
I always think of the Disney pop stars, like the whole line of them. Where do you end or where do you stop? Like the Aguilera, Britney Spears, Olivia Rodrigo,
Demi Lovato.
all of them. All of them. All of the.
Miley Cyrus.
Just so many of them. They go from this to that, and you look at this, the Disney persona, like the iconic Disney persona. To me, I couldn't help but think of it because I watched those shows with my kids, watch these characters. And then you see them go from Hannah Montana to came in like a wrecking ball. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I'm not judging.
Robin Thicke thing.
Yeah, I'm not judging any of these people, but I'm just saying it's exactly this character, this transition here, and
yeah, like all of that transition stuff, of their sexualization and posing different ways, got them to where they are now. So
Amanda Bynes. Just thought of another one. Sorry.
So this character also, like by the end, she's supported as an actress, I would say, in her new career. Mm-hmm. But that means that everything that led there was needed for her to get there. So that includes these photo shoots, these scenes that she recorded. So, like I said, tough for us to understand from our perspectives, but definitely worth noting the connections there.
yeah. And I think maybe I made a jump with the empowering statement. not backing down from that. I still think that there was an element of that, but I
Well,
think
that's
But
the tricky nature of this is
Yeah.
when you have that image,
Well,
you
that's
feel
how everybody
empowered.
viewed it. Yeah, that's
I
how
mean,
everybody who watched it
If
viewed
I
it. That
if I
way.
look like Brad Pitt, I'd feel empowered to be doing photo shoots.
Yeah, because I think like when I think of like you like Sid Sweeney right now, like she's like this big girl, whatever, the hot star or whatever, and I see her get piled on a lot for,
Jokes.
yeah, right, for being who she is and how she looks, but like in interviews and stuff, she's like, I would be a fool not to use my
To
looks.
capitalize on
This. Like, well, and I
On
think,
these?
Well, remember
these
when?
assets.
If you remember the interview with, it was almost very rude with Margot Robbie and was it Jim Carrey? It was on one of those shows, the Graham Norton show, and he goes, it must have been so hard coming up through the acting ranks, looking as awful as you do. And he was joking, but he played it so much so that it was uncomfortable.
Oh, really?
I don't know if it was Jim Carrey, but someone was really like blasting her, and you could see her getting uncomfortable about it. She's gorgeous, right?
Yeah.
But it's like she's a really good actress too.
That's the thing. Yeah.
But that's almost like what sometimes you have to carry. I gotta say the beautiful people, because it could be guys too, like Vaz says about Brad Pitt. It's almost a burden. You have to be good, and then you have to get over that hump for people to take you with any kind of
Right,
artistic
right.
integrity.
Right.
It's like, oh, she got that role because she's gorgeous, or she got big boobs, or he's handsome, he's got big biceps. You only got that because you look like that. And then there's something to be said for there. There's a layer of that somewhere salted in here.
I'm gonna go into exploitation next then, because that was kind of right in that same arena of, this person's got a new image and they are trying to break free of their old image. They got a new sexy actress portrayal that they got to put on, so they got to do this modeling. They got to do these scenes, and so you got exploitation of the screenwriter and the photographer of, they're not the world's cleanest guys, we'll say. They made it so they could see a person in such ways. The screenwriter, well, you got to do this scene here, and the photographer, okay, take this off, do that, and then he's got those photos up in his apartment.
Yeah.
Like, all that exploitation going on of this poor girl that just trying to make it big and going with the flow, and then kind of getting lost in the shuffle of.
And even the other manager, he caught the bomb in the first attack.
The letter bomb.
The letter bomb that went off. That I'm assuming Rumi built for him, to knowing she was right there when it went off. Like, oh, he's gonna open this up.
Didn't she say that's not for you? Didn't someone say that's not for you when she tried to take it?
They handed it to the head guy, and it was like a bunch of letters for.
I thought they grabbed that one
And then that one
specifically,
specific,
though.
oh, that one's not for you, and took it out of the pile.
Yeah, was that Rumi that did that?
I don't know.
That's interesting though.
Yeah, that'd be a little giveaway there. Aside from the eyes far apart.
And there's shit the sloth eyes. Yeah.
Hid the sloth.
You guys are too much.
Hid.
Her and Mimania. He has another name. It's written different in the IMDb cast list. It's like Uchida or something like that. I don't know if that means guard. I don't know what that means.
So I put in next pop icon culture. So this idea of voyeurism, objectification, you see that through Mimania.
That first scene he's in, he's got his hand up like she's dancing on.
That's right. That's right.
That was a cool scene. I like that.
So,
Like,
too.
And like the website, just like as if she's not a real person.
Right,
It's
right.
whatever their perception of who she is, that's what is
the idea
static
of her
in their mind.
The idea of her like took over the real version of her. Like, no, that's not her. This is her. You don't see her on this pedestal. Oh,
I
fantastic.
wonder about the pressure on people like that, don't you? I just wonder and worry about the pressure. And then when you see someone handle it well, they're the exception, it seems like. Like to me, you see someone like Taylor Swift, and you watch some of the things about the production that she just went through for the whole tour,
Yeah.
and you're like, good for you, because she was finding these ways to still be normal and connect with her parents, and connect with her boyfriend, and connect with her friends. And I'm thinking they're almost the exception. But what do I know? I don't know the life of these pop icons.
Hey, she might shave her head tomorrow and claim crazy things, you know?
Right.
Like, I mean, if she's doing it right, she's doing it right. But
Right?
I don't want to talk smack on Taylor.
Well, these pop icons, man.
We have enough fans that hate us. No, I'm just kidding.
They have so much.
Well, me and K-Max, you got your own fan club still.
I'm getting a letter bomb next
The
week.
worst-
No, I'm just kidding.
The letter J bomb.
J keys keep
Yeah.
showing up in my mailbox.
This will explode next time.
And exposure's good exposure. Boom. Look like Jokey Smurf.
So here's the big one. Here's where you guys' bookmarks go. The male gaze. MaleGaze.
All of that threw me off. It's like,
I know it did.
So many homonyms.
Stared at me.
the homonyms, they get you.
So this
They
male
send
gaze.
gay guys through the mail?
I'm going to ask you a question. How many women characters are in this movie?
3, 4. Not including the nurses at the end. Or the ghost version of
You
people.
even could.
6, 7.
Okay.
I'm saying 5.
Okay.
Did you say
Now-
6, 7?
Now,
I didn't say it like that.
now let's
Grow
look
up.
at just the beginning scene here. The audience. Is there any women in the audience?
I don't think there's a single woman in the audience, is there?
I don't remember seeing any. I remember noticing in my head thinking, maybe
A lot of
Japanese
dudes.
culture is different.
So they've already been outnumbered in that
Yeah, because there's
opening scene.
All the
opening scene,
ruffians.
There's already-
there's 3 Power Rangers.
There's already more talking roles for the men in that opening sequence in the city when she's
Yeah.
performing than there are females in the entire movie.
Yeah, there's like 6 or 7 different groups of Shut up. There's like 7 or 8 groups of people, like just random guys talking to each other and back and forth. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
And then I'm going to make notice of, so when I say gaze, you think of lens then, the way that people view things. So the male gaze, lens, and it takes it literal. And it seems like over half the men in this movie are wearing glasses or sunglasses or looking through a camera lens or videotaping. Then even Mimania's eye, the one eye that you see resembles a camera lens, like the color of it, the shade.
It's like a weird gray.
Yeah, and there's no
filtered
white
over.
to it.
Yeah,
Like it looks
yeah.
like a camera lens of some sort. So just that idea that all of these people, like, I feel like it's emphasized with this movie, with the cameras, with the glasses, with the sheer ratio of men to women. And then you mentioned the when he's holding his hand up in the beginning and she fits in his hand. To me, it's has a lot to say about this idea. So going back to, we'll go K-Max's thing of the giant jump from pop star to movie star seems to require nudity or some sort of adult content to make that
Yeah.
jump. And so we go back, so I relate that to this male gaze of, well, this is who your audience is, and we need to appeal to that audience. So that's where I see that.
It's like
The observation from you.
It's like they got to separate the old version of her from the new version. Like, no, that's an old childish way we got to do away with you by exposing you, or exploiting you.
Well, it's like you know that's your career now as singer. So to appeal to this next male audience, you need to be shown this way.
Yeah.
So like, because the other one was still a male audience, the way that she, you know, the cutesy outfit and the pink whatever tops and skirts or whatever was still for a male audience, just a different one. And then when she wants to make the jump to actress, well, you have to appeal to these types of men. So you have to wear these and do these photo shoots. So everything was done to appeal like a male gaze to me.
To me, I agree with that 100%. I always feel like it's strange. I think I'm going to combine the last two, pop icon and the male gaze, because you look at the people who buy the music and go to these concerts. It's not who they're showing, it's not who this film's portraying are the fans, because it's all like men that are giddy to see these, and like, I don't know if it's a cultural thing, and this might be a hot button topic, but like, I think with like, I don't even know, this is talking out of ignorance, but it's like, the people that buy the albums and go to the shows, I mean, and the artists themselves, they would tell you that. I mean, I think Olivia Rodrigo just had an interview online about, she had like a baby doll gown on at a concert, and there were some reporters that were like making is this appropriate? Is she sexualizing this and dressing like a little kid, you know? And is it? And I'm thinking, like, her and like Sabrina Carpenter, like their thing that they claim is that they're appealing to, and it's empowering to their fans, and they're not looking at their fans as being these men. Whereas this movie seems like their fan bases are all men.
Yeah, I think that's a totally valid connection there, because, I mean, it's not that audience isn't paying millions and millions of dollars for all your content. It's,
Japanese, because that was one of the threads I ran down, was like Japanese culture on how they treat pop icons and like singers of that. Even the guys too, though, is like, you have to, well, the females mainly, they're like, you have to be appealing to the males as if you're a virgin, as if you're non-threatening, as if you're charming and cute and accessible. Like that's like your character fits these three traits at all times. That's who you are. And so they don't say anything that's too aggressive or political. You don't do any, like everything they have to do has to appeal like as if you're still a virgin, you're non-threatening, and you're charming. That be these three things and you're golden. You stay within this window. Wow. And so that's how they're supposed to be seen at all times.
Speaking of that, staying in a window.
That's interesting. Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's all sorts of framing in this movie of walls and shapes and doorways and windows that
that's true.
encase Mima. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's part of it. There's like that pressure to be all of those things while still finding your own identity.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
So that all relates to Tin Man, your other bookmark of the smuttier, the more profitable, because that's who's paying for all that stuff. And I think that it's weird that this movie was made almost 30 years ago.
Isn't that crazy? I've never heard of it.
Still, to me, that's relevant because it gets rid of the curtain. I guess I'll put it as of like, well, you're dressing that way because you're saying you're empowering. I'm talking about present day, the example you gave. Well, I'm dressing this way to empower this demographic here, mm-hmm. and completely maybe being willingly ignorant of who's actually enjoying seeing you dressed like that. Mm-hmm. And I feel like this movie tears off that curtain a little bit and says, well, this is the guy that or these are the men that are really allowing you to be the way you are, you know. And this male gaze has this effect also, not just on our main character, but on Rumi. And it's created this unrealistic expectation of women. And you know, Rumi sees Mima as such a pop icon that she wants that to stay in place, and using your word, be vicariously living through that. Yeah. And so you create that where Rumi now doesn't have her own identity because she sees how successful that is, and she wants that, obviously is not going to get it, so has nothing else that she can connect with. And I feel like you have this, maybe it's a subconscious thing, the way that she killed all the men were ice pick or whatever that thing, what did you call it, an awl?
In all, yeah.
Through the eyes. Again, the male gaze, destroying that, right?
Yeah.
So
There you go. That's
so
an
our,
easy enough connection.
Is that true?
so our
Thanks for taking us on this journey.
our guy in the elevator, stabbed in both
His
eyes, it looked like.
eyeballs out, yep.
The Mimania, his eye that we didn't see. We never get to see it because it got stabbed.
Gouged out.
And that was the first place that she aimed on the photographer.
Yep.
So that, I think that was important to note, is the importance of the male gaze. And, Mima's our main character, but I feel like for Rumi that could be like a little subconscious thing there of targeting how the men see
I think
the
that's-
women there. Let's move into obsession. That was Tin Man. I think that was one of your words.
It was.
Because I think you see it not just with
Mamania.
Rumi and Mamania on Mima, but I think you see it pretty much on everyone on Mima.
Yeah, and even Mima's seeming a little obsession with moving. Remember, she was just torn apart in the beginning. I gotta do this. I want it. She's getting all this advice about staying as a pop star, or making the next step into. Remember, she was torn. She was torn about what she's gonna do.
Yeah.
If I'm
It was
gonna
like
do
this idea of always trying to move up, it felt like.
Yeah,
Like,
She didn't wanna
I've always
wait.
wanted to be an actress. Like, no,
Yeah.
you want to be a singer. No, I want to be an actress.
yeah. We didn't send you these voice lessons for nothing, and you got that uncle who's gonna buy 40 copies of it or whatever.
Yeah.
That this film was made when people used to actually buy artists' work instead of just streaming
It was
everything.
neat seeing the boombox in the
Yeah,
elevator.
yeah.
I
And
remember
also the
I think
compu-
I had that
and
same
what about
one.
the computer
with
with
the
the
scratchy audio
Yeah,
too. that
yeah,
makes-
It's like they maxed the audio out.
Yeah.
So it had that.
That's
to it.
exactly true.
I was like, oh man.
I thought the computer too, with the little the navigator, the little captain's wheel navigation.
Yeah, yeah.
You have to click on it, and I'm going to buy you a web access, a browser access, and I'm like, oh, this is a little older.
double clip. What does double clip mean? I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
Oh man, I forgot to mention with
You can bring it up. We didn't start Obsession yet. Kind of.
well, with the maturity, I saw a little bit of Arrested Development, not the show, but actual static development. Her room again, it could be a culture thing, but it's this clash still of blue material and then her with her teddy bears and flowers in her bedroom. And so again, that clash of being perfect and being blue and all that. But anyways, obsession. Anything else to add to that idea?
With obsession, I think that not only her obsession with moving up, but also like when you say vicarious, the vicarious. Rumi's obsession with like, I want to hang on to something that's not there anymore, or a fading star. Like I'm obsessed with hanging on to it, and it can. I mean,
Yeah, it wasn't even really an obsession of Mima. It was
Right.
the idea, the what's the icon?
The idol,
I-
the idol
iconist.
version. The iconography.
I cannot remember the word. You see what I did there?
Good one. Good one.
Right.
That's a
But
late
I
pull.
think about what that does, though. Is it like what that can do, that obsession, and then like you trying to vicariously think of the coach, the dad, or the soccer mom. You know what I mean? It's like you're trying to hang on, and you put undue pressure on the kid because you're like, come on, you got to be better. You got to live out my dreams for me.
You got to quote Shane Gillis. You can't be bad at school and sports.
My love for you is conditional.
It's so good.
Let's go with reality.
Ooh.
See, that was probably the toehold that I loved about this movie that got me so into it was it made me question what. Because there was a time in this film that I thought that the TV show was the reality. And I thought,
I still don't know if it's not the reality.
Yeah, I was so fascinated by that because I thought, okay, this feels more palatable to me as a film watcher. That, oh man,
Oh, there's versions of analyses that I looked at where one was when she gets hit by the car, so she chases Ghost Mima out of the podcast. Can't call it podcast, but out of the radio show.
Yeah.
Podcast.
The studio.
Out of the
because it
studio.
did look like a podcast with
And
the
then
microphone.
she chases it, Ghost Mima through the crowd, and then runs out in the street. And then Mimania is driving a van, and the lights, like as if she got hit. There's some reviews of it that were like she's dead here, and the rest is like in her head, or when she's in the hospital, or it's actually Rumi from that point on's point of view.
I loved
There's
it.
so many analysis where they contradict each other or they switch the story, and I'm like, they don't seem wrong. They have good points. I think there's some that are more valid than others, but there are a lot of not on the same page
Think
reviews
of that
of
where
this.
that journey takes you on a psychological thriller, though. That's what makes, I think, a good psychological thriller because it messes you up.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, I don't know, maybe
It's
that.
like taking us on the same journey Mima's on. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
great. I don't know what's real.
Well,
how
that's-
does she know it's real? And
I mean-
I felt the same way.
That's why, like, truly, hats off to Dev, because I thought 10s across the board as far as recommendation, because it might not be, again, I can appreciate a film and see how good it is at what someone says it did without it being my favorite movie.
Right,
Or my
right.
favorite style of movie. Would I have rather watched 5 or 6 other movies from our list? Yes, easily. But the conversation, I hope that we're bearing it out. Maybe we're not. At least for my part, maybe I'm not. But I really enjoyed it. And I loved, one of the things I enjoyed most is that my toehold in reality was questioned. I had to question it many times, like, what is real? And I liked the way I felt when something that may or may not have been the reality felt like it was. Remember when he was like, when they were on the other side of the double glass, saying, almost feeling bad for Mima.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
saying,
yeah.
so she thinks this, and she's created this reality.
Oh, she
to cover
she
for the,
says that her name is Mina. What the heck is her name?
Mima.
Mima. Mimarin? Takagora? Like they think she's that. Kirigoya. Yeah, that's what it is. Kirigoya.
But I was just so, I was just so impressed. I was impressed is the word. I was impressed with the filmmaking and the writing.
Yeah.
That they made me think that. And even at the last scene, I'm like, I was looking for something like, it's me. I'm like, or is it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like she looks in the mirror and it's Rumi in the mirror. You're like, oh, what's going on?
Yeah.
There's an episode of Rick and Morty where like that happens.
Okay.
Yeah, where it's like a version of them goes and kills this one. You're like, oh no, the real version just got killed. And then another version comes in and like, oh, this is the real version. And then they get killed by another. Like, wait, who's the real version of them? It does it so much throughout the scene. I'm like, okay, I'm just waiting to see what happens.
I always call it the law of diminishing returns. It's like, how many times can you do that where it
Where it
still
loses me?
has
Yeah,
weight? And
yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
I'll just throw up my hands and say, I can't follow. I'd say the same with time travel. Same thing with branching universes, different alternative
Oh
universes.
no, I've gone cross-eyed.
I felt like it never diminished my return in this movie, though. Every time I was like, it brought me back.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the big pluses of having a tight runtime. Also,
Right. They
it
cleaned
was
it
only
up.
That's
an
true.
hour and 25 minutes or something. Mm-hmm. So you kept it nice and tight, so you don't lose your viewer and all of that.
Right.
So I thought there's this idea of they call it Panacoptin effect. So I thought it was a form of that. So Panacoptin effect
At
is like
54, it can happen. Sorry. My doctor called it something different.
it's this idea that you perform or act a certain way because you feel like you're being watched.
Oh.
And I don't know if there's different versions of this, but that's what I felt like during the movie was because you had things like at the end, Rumi. And I don't know if this is the exact example of this Panacoptin effect, but Rumi, when gets stabbed by the glass and she wanders into the road and the truck's coming, she puts her arms out as if she, everyone's giving her a applause.
Yeah.
And I think that happened to Mima during the movie too, at points where she did something and she looks up and people are clapping. I think it's when she fended off Mimania,
yeah.
I think. But it was that idea of performing a certain way. And then I think you had different versions of this idea, because when our main character sees the website and she sees how precise the observations are. Oh, I always step out of the train with my right foot. So that when you see her next on the train, she steps, and then she looks down and you kind of realizes that she's doing exactly what the people watching her expect her to do.
Yeah.
And then she kind of panics a little bit and then runs away. And so how much of her free will is impeded by this idea that she thinks she's being watched and has to act a certain way or break out of that because she's being too, stagnant or living up to what everyone knows her to do. And
Interesting.
so that's related to this idea too, I think, of agency and autonomy of, are you really living your free will if you are acting a certain way based on everyone else's perception and expectation of you? How much of that is impeded when you allow all of that to govern what you do? When she's reading, and she's kind of in a daze, and she's reading that website again, and she's like, "Well, I guess I went to
The department store.
Harijoku or something like that. I guess I went there today." Like, didn't even
That was
know
in
what
her
she
like
did.
low end despair.
Yeah.
Having to like
It's funny you
her
bring up.
room's completely
Like she had to
dark.
learn from someone
Yeah.
else what she did. Because
Right.
Yeah, you want me to tell you who you are? Anyway, but it's funny you bring Harajuku. With the definition of what you said, the expectations of those women, those pop stars, those icons. That's exactly the definition that Gwen Stefani, her dancers, during when she went solo from No Doubt. Side note, she got really, really into that culture a lot, and she called those girls her Harajuku girls, and they were like 4 or 5 Japanese. That was their look, the innocent, like hee hee, that kind of a vibe, and that was like her thing for a couple of years. Those were her. Just thought it was weird. I mean, like that was kind of what they tried to put forward, which I don't know. I think it's great, but there's like,
I mean, if she was trying to market to other countries, she was trying to fit into that mold to market to those countries, maybe.
Because they would be on interviews with her, like she'd be on the show or whatever, and they would be like the tee hee hee hee, like giggling as she was doing her thing. That's how they acted, and it's like that's not really how you act. You know what I mean? But they were trying to fit into an icon, maybe. And when I saw, that's the only other time I've seen that word or that place is right in this film here. Just thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
I got 3 more quick ones. The support in the movie. I pointed this out to Tin Man when I saw the idea of 3 and kind of this. It seemed like a countdown to me of 3, 2, 1. Well, you had 3 different sides. You had 3 different
Power Rangers.
Yeah, so it was like you had pieces of our main character that seemed to dwindle down and have less support as you continued, and it drops down to 2, and then it drops down to by the end you got 1 left, and I think they use the framing that I was talking about to kind of help with that, this idea of dwindling support, of isolation, because you had the framing singling out our character, and so she feels separated from everyone else. So it kind of helps with this idea of isolation, pressure that's forced on her, and when you're isolated, in this sense, you don't see any support. And even in the beginning, her mom didn't support the career change. And
Right.
then Rumi doesn't support the career change either. And everyone else's support is based on how successful she is.
Right.
So,
Or how much money they can make off of her.
all right. And then maybe I only have two more. Fragmentation. No. Let's go anxiety. I do have three. So anxiety. K-Max, you pointed this out right in the beginning. The camera is nice and calm when it wants you to be calm. And then it gets blurred and manic when it wants you to feel anxious and it wants you to feel a little panicky and fight or flight mode.
I enjoyed that kind of. It helped me a lot because I like when the filmmaker ushers me in how I'm supposed to feel. Sometimes I get annoyed, right? Just get a rink, but but like sometimes it's cool now that I know that it's a tool that they use to get me to be in the right. It's almost like staging. Like there's a cue at Disney. I appreciate them getting me ready for the next thing. So why wouldn't I appreciate the film kind of lathering me up for what's happening next? You know what I mean? And I'd like that kind of animation. I don't know if it's a certain kind, but it'd be a still frame, and then parts of it would be animated, and then the voices or the eyes, and then the rest of it would just be a still shot, and then a still shot with something moving underneath it or over it. It's kind of a neat. That was cool. That was a neat way of doing it.
I liked, and this probably plays more with the framing, but when you see Mima and the action take place on the screen, like on a TV screen. So back then had more static and more noise on the picture. So that to me also felt like fuzziness, like trying to recollect what's going on. So that might also play into what I said before with the reality and isolation and everything. But to me, it also gave you a sense of uncertainty. When it's got the lines going across the TV screen.
Yeah. Felt in like Talk to Me when you would see the mom. You would always be behind some translucent glass. I felt that same way, which is funny. Seeing these tools come back and being able to connect them to other films. Yeah. I almost say them out loud like a child. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember because we did that then.
Well, speaking of tools. Master of the Segway over here.
Well, at least I was going to say, speaking of tools, K-Max.
I got fragmentation. Okay. So I talked about use of three. And so big three characters here. Mima, Rumi, Mimania. And I've got just the tool for the job of connecting these pieces here. So going back to season 1, you guys remember my phrase of Ghosts of Christmas Past?
I sure do.
So it won't be specifically Ghosts of Christmas Past. I'll call them the Christmas Ghosts. Any new listeners, I referred to Ghosts of Christmas Past or Ghosts of Christmas Future. I think it was Future for that.
Yep.
Was this idea of using a character that kind of reflects how our main character is going to end up if they don't change their ways. And then you can see the version of Christmas Past in that same context. So it doesn't have to be in the same way that you see it in Christmas Carol. It's just characters used to reflect our main character and their journey. So using 3 segments of Mima's life, we can see how these influence the main character's moral journey. So I'll even put it in terms of past, present, and future. So I could say the past, we got Mimania with this idea of the Arrested Development, and that Mima's new life is sullying her pop icon status and the image of her that he sees from the past. And then I'll go to the future, which I see as Rumi in a life governed by others in that sort of panopticon sense. Losing agency, losing your autonomy, and just doing things for other people, for public perception, which dictates your identity now. Like, you have no identity of your own. It's just whatever the public sees of you, that's who you are. And you see that with her, especially by the end there, where that's how she tries to see herself even. And then you got present, and I would say Mima as the actress trying to, get this, make an identity. An actor trying to make an identity.
Yeah.
And having doubt of being able to do so. Constant visits from that hallucination from Ghost Mima. And this idea of the takes, different takes to try and find identities. And the idea of her repeating that phrase when she's first trying to find this identity. Excuse me, who are you? Mm-hmm. Excuse me, who are you? I mean, just that phrase that she has to say in her first venture into making a new identity is asking it to herself even, you know?
Over and over and
Over
over,
and
too.
over.
It wasn't by accident. And she was afraid that she was going to forget it.
Yep.
Tin Man, you mentioned the different takes, right? Take one,
Oh, yeah.
she runs into the road, and it looks like Mimania runs her over, fades to white, and she wakes up again, repeat. And that take, the screenwriter dies. And then same thing happens, she wakes up, we get another repeat here, and there's this doubt, this uncertainty about her identity, and she has that scene where she's behind the glass, I believe, and even that is done in a couple takes where she says, "That's right, I'm an actress," and then they redo that part, and she says, "That's right, I'm a model."
Yep.
That's right.
And then it goes. I think that's another one where everyone claps for her.
That's the one that claps, yeah.
Yeah. So this idea that there's 3 takes now, and there's multiple attempts to try and create this identity, and you have 3 different Christmas ghosts that are affecting her moral journey here, and that's why I see that as thematic storytelling. So it's not as important to me. Okay, when is it reality? When is it false reality? When is it Rumi? When is it Mima? To me, those are placed to fit what the filmmaker is trying to say.
I was thinking that when there wasn't a clear answer, and I go, I think it's intentional that there isn't a clear answer. That was my thought too. I go, okay, so it's not that I'm supposed to be chasing this lead to try to figure out. I was like, because we get to the end, it's fine. But what is it? Are they trying to keep us so vague that we don't know who's who, and it's intentional that we don't know who's who?
Gosh.
And so that's how I looked at it. But yeah, I agree with that too.
And I think even
was
even
just
those
thematic
takes
takes
relate
like that, yeah.
specific to those characters. So take one when Mimania runs her over in the street relates to him causing that issue. Take 2 is the screenwriter dies, and that was Rumi's impact.
Yeah.
And then you get take 3, which is Mima still trying to find this identity after those first 2 takes.
Right.
And then again, to play along with those 2 takes, Mimania, when he tries to kill Mima, and she runs away the first time, and she's cornered in that hallway, and he's like, "Take 2," and he tries to kill her again.
So is that where the wall collapses after he tries to stab?
Yeah. So just all these ideas of the different fragments being explored a little bit, and through my tools, grabbing my Ghosts of Christmas palette to see how these characters fit Mima's moral journey here. Sorry, K-Max, you're going to say something.
I honestly can't remember. You bet me.
So that's what I had for fragmentation. I know I kind of hogged the spotlight on that one.
No, I liked it. The idea of fragmentation. I thought one of the cool scenes, if I could jump back to it, was when you said the mirror reflections and whatnot, and when Rumi, like demise, well, didn't die apparently, but fell into the broken glass and laid over it and got cut on the glass. I was like, what a cool way to kind of have a demise of this character that this.
Because she was trying to get the wig back, right?
That's
'Cause
right.
The wig was part of her her persona.
Yeah.
Through it, she's like, "No, I need that.
I need that to a
Enough
point of
it killing her." Yeah.
yeah, and it ended up being her demise, you know. And then I like that she went back out in the traffic, and all of a sudden she's like, "Oh, my adoring public!" She put her arms out again,
Yeah.
even though she's cut almost in half there. And I mean, just really, hats off to filmmaker. Hats off to.
I enjoyed it, even up to the third and some change times I watched it.
I'll probably
It
watch
still
it
was-
again soon.
just to try to play the follow the pieces game or try to see what else is in there, what other clues and whatever leads to follow. Because it was a fun watch. That was cool.
Before we move on from fragmentation, I had the idea of the Powertron, those Power Ranger looking
version
people.
things. Yeah.
Because I pointed out to you, I rewound it right after we watched it. I was like, I gotta see this first scene really quick again, just to make sure I remembered what I thought.
I barely remember it at all.
And like you had,
Yeah, because it led to it seemingly led nowhere in the story. It
yeah.
was just like, hey, here's this thing, and then also back here now.
well, that's another one of my tools though, is keep note of what was in the opening and what's at the end.
Yeah.
Because they should you open thematically and you should close thematically. I mean, that's just how I perceive.
And in a good writing and that's a good essay too.
So
Remember that, guys.
Hey, your DBQs, you know.
Yeah,
get your-
yeah, we got
get your-
finals
your
coming up in a
thesis
couple
statement,
weeks,
and you
boys.
gotta-
So you had three characters, three Power Rangers to form Powertron, and each of them you had green, red, and blue. And those three colors come up again throughout the movie: green, red, and blue. Red and blue, you had the two other performers in the trio. They were wearing blue and red, or
Yes.
blue and green throughout the movie. And then you had the lights when the photographer got killed.
Yep.
Green, red, and blue. So those showed up a few times in the movie there. All right, so we've talked about a handful of themes here, more than a handful. Do you guys have anything that resembles a theme after discussing, like anything that pops out to you more than the others that you'd like to? You could either just say what word spoke to you most, or you could form a theme if you want.
I think mine would be, I'd have to simplify mine because it can be so branch off. So to help myself, I had to simplify it. So I think mine would be the dangers. I'm going to read it. Someone else go. I'm going to read mine because I have it written down.
All right, Tin Man, you're up.
I didn't even attempt a theme. This is going to be from.
Well, so what word then spoke to you out of the ones that we listed?
I feel like obsession would be a word that
like
spoke
that.
the most to me.
Okay.
Because of, I wouldn't say Mima encompassed all of obsession, but she's willing to put herself in these almost depraved situations because she didn't want to let these people down. She kept pushing the envelope even though it wasn't good for her. And she has this version of her that's haunting her now, of her innocence, of her purity that she had just left behind to this new venture, and she doubts it every step of the way of where she went. And I mean, the other two main characters, you can see where obsession really plays other roles, but I see Mima in it too as well.
Okay.
I think that would be my
The fragileness of identity. And because I connected with that because that was the big fear. That's what it pulled the emotion it pulled out of me is my fear of ever losing my perception of reality. It's always been a fear of mine, like my perception of reality.
That was a weird thing I had. I remember in high school, they were like, "What's your biggest fear?" And I remember thinking, I'm like, I'm not afraid of the dark. I'm not afraid of heights. Like if ever there were to be a time where I believed one thing to be 100% true and it wasn't, and I didn't know what was and what isn't like real. And I remember thinking I had like a dream or something
Yeah,
where it
yeah.
didn't make sense, and or like they'd be like, yeah, those are triangles over there, and I'm like, no, it's not. No, it's what is everyone looking at? I don't see
Right.
what you're looking at. And like I remember thinking, I'm like, that seems to be awful, and it doesn't seem to be too far from reality if you have anyone with Alzheimer's in your family or dementia,
Yeah.
where it's like, or I've dealt with people who have like paranoid schizophrenia. Like they are 100% convinced by this delusion that this thing is haunting them and it's real.
Yeah.
And I can't convince them otherwise.
No. And it,
I've done everything I could to, other than like carry them to the attic. Like, look, there's nobody up here filming you.
That's
and they
exactly it.
will no, they're somewhere. Then they're not here. They're
just
and like
such a fragile state.
Yeah.
Like we're people, we're fragile creatures, and our psyche, our persona, it can be fragile. And so think of the theme of being that, like how fragile this successful, I think of the mentor. I think of Rumi, the fragileness, and then because it's so fragile, has to try to vicariously live through Mima. And then becomes an obsession.
the idol version of
So
Mima.
everything driven through that plot line is the theme of how fragile her identity is.
Here's a quote from Satoshi Kon that I thought was interesting enough.
Wait, let me give mine really
Yes,
quick.
yeah, sorry.
and
Oh,
then
sorry.
I'll-
I thought you did yours. Yeah.
Because I'll give mine, I'll hear yours, and then I'll give why I said mine.
Okay.
Because I'm
Because mine
curious.
doesn't even fit what he said. I just threw my own out there.
I said I guess pretty similar to K-Max. So I said disassociating from the public gaze to form your own identity is what I put.
That's,
I like that.
So let
Okay,
me
what do
hear.
you think?
Let me hear.
I think the problem everybody has, male or female. This is the quote from Satoshi Kon. I think the problem everybody has, male or female, famous or anonymous. I mean, there's a gap between the image people see of me and what I see of myself. Perfect Blue is the tragedy caused by that gap becoming too large.
Hey, I'm
Interesting,
glad to
huh?
hear. I'm really glad to hear that. For the first time, in
We're
my
all
life, I
kind
feel
of on the same page.
well, in my head, I'm like,
Like
I'm real
you
happy to
nailed
hear
it.
that. honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I never feel in the.
That's why I
Same
wasn't going to
neighborhood.
say it, but I knew you were going to be in the ballpark. I'm like,
perfect.
Yeah.
I love how we arrive at these places too. The three of us, we all usually arrive at our themes in a very different way. Mine's through insecurity.
So the reason I picked mine though was that Rumi cannot disassociate and thus has trouble forming her own identity. You see her at first when Mima is in doubt of her identity and trying to find it yet. She's the one chasing the ghost. And she's trying to, she knows what that is, right? She's familiar with how that pop icon is. And so she's still drawn to it. And you have the switch there. And this is when the ghost becomes a little bit more palatable when it's actually Rumi. But we talked about, the use of red, and she's gone from shades of pink and some red and whites and pinks and a little bit of red to full-blown red. And we talked about the symbolic use of that with what that represents in the movie. So now you got this character in full red, in full delusion, now chasing after the character that has a stronger identity than what she has.
Oh man.
So the chases are reversed, right, at the end there.
Yes,
So
yeah.
Rumi is chasing Mima. To me, that's Mima breaking free from that hold that
That the idol version.
the
of
idol
hers
version,
holding
yeah,
her.
of kind of like, well, that's in the past. I'm trying to leave it. I can leave it now. And so she's able to get away, and Rumi is
Other than it just
caught
talking
with her
smack.
fractured
Yeah.
self.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah. Other than her ghost talking smack to her the whole time.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then at the very end there, you have Mima looking at us through the mirror, through her. Like again, every time there's a mirror, pay attention thematically. It's got to say something most of the time. she says, "No, I'm the real thing." So kind of solidifying that she's fully embraced her new life, her new identity, her new career, and there's no doubt. So she's able to look in the mirror and see her only true self. So that's what I had.
I like it. I like it. Now that the ghosts of Christmas past and future
Right? Isn't that true?
are rightfully handled,
Yeah.
or dealt with. That is cool though. It was a neat story, and I did like how it. The music, it was off-putting at first though. As soon as she's like, "I'm the real deal,"
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm like, how am I supposed to feel right now? Because it's not helping. That's loud.
So this little section here should be very quick. It's just scenes that, at this point we can kind of look back and say, okay, that scene really anchored how I perceive this movie now. So do you guys have any of those that you can point to a scene and say, oh, this made me think this way, and that's why I believe this movie to be about XYZ?
Mm-hmm. It's good.
Okay, were there any scenes that gave me validation on an idea for how this?
Sure.
Okay. I don't know. Maybe just the way that Ghost Mima. So Ghost Mima shows up like. There's a version of Ghost Mima when it's Rumi's involved. There's a version of Ghost Mima that shows up when it's just Mima involved, and then there's a version of Ghost Mima that shows up with Mimania at the same time. And I was like, okay, every time you see this ghost version of her, she's like, ha, woo, and like, I need you to help me. Or it's just like, oh, you're just a dirty slut now. Like to her, it's
I'm going to take that sound bit, by the way, and it's going to be my new text message term.
Oh, you're a dirty slut now. Yeah.
Let's be real.
But it's like, to her, it's the innocence that she's lost, or guilt, or shame, or whatever of her past that she can't get rid of, that's trash talking her, all her doubt and choices. And to this person, it's this thing. And to this person, it's this thing. I think seeing the ghost show up everywhere, and it's like, oh, it's because they all have this same idea, but what they're doing is they're holding to the idol version, whether it's a negative thing, or it's an internal thing, or it's an external thing for each character. I think seeing seeing them show up kind of gave me a little more like, oh, I think this is what it is.
It's a shared perception of what her image as an icon is.
Right. But it's different to each person.
Right.
The shared image affects them different ways.
Right.
I think that was something.
I like
and
that.
I think that's probably why that was one of my favorite scenes, was because Mimania does kind of crazy things, and he does like antisocial behaviors. He grabs all the news articles or all the magazines with her in it. He puts the news article with the guy who had like caused a problem at the concert, now is in the hospital, critical condition, or maybe he was killed, I thought. But put it in, like, stuck it to the elevator wall so she could see it. And then he crosses into where it's like, oh, there's versions of her all over the wall talking to him now. And it's like, like, oh, he's down the road. And then she shows up, the ghost. I'm like, okay, now if the ghost is there for all of them, why is the ghost there for all of them?
Right.
And I think that's what made me tie it into the way it did.
I like that. Okay, Max, do you have any scenes that validate some of your thoughts?
Can't think of any in isolation. I just think I would, because my main thought was like the identity, and I think probably the one scene that was when they were behind the glass. I think I talked about already. When the people, it was actually a shot of the movie or the series when they're like talking about her psychosis as like a patient. Like it was like life imitating art. You know what I mean? It was like a. It made me feel a way that like how fragile identity is, because in some ways, like when I wrestle with anxiety, that was the big fear that made me so anxious. Was like there was never a time when I didn't perceive things were, like a different reality or a different perspective, like I was like a different person, but it was always like when you feel when something that's pragmatic or your experience of reality is shifted even a little bit, you're like, whoa, this is terrifying. You know, I have to guard myself, and I don't ever want to feel that way, so I got to be really careful because I felt like it wasn't perfect reality. That's why I worry for folks who get like drunk or stoned all the time, because it's like you want to feel that reality shift, that identity shift. Like, I'm not really me right now.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons why I don't like. I'm not perfect. Anyway, everybody knows that. But like, I don't like to drink to excess because I don't want to feel like. I like my reality to be reality.
You're not you.
Yeah, I don't want to not be me because I'm thinking.
Who's behind the wheel?
Honestly,
Who
with
cares?
that is a terrifying idea for me. And then when I'm around people, like even the company I'm with, if someone is doing something to excess, I get nervous and I'm uncomfortable because I'm like, what? So now you're not accountable to your actions, and now I can't expect the same things from you that I would expect out of my normal friend.
Yeah.
That's terrifying to me. Yeah, it always has been.
I feel like that's a big fear of a lot of people, the loss of identity and trying to piece it back together after you think it's lost. And I think that translates to a lot of youth today, a lot of people that have mental issues. I feel like I think it has a lot to do with identity and losing it and trying to find it. And
I think about the physical battles that I've had with my health and stuff back in the past. The scariest one of all of them was the experience with stroke, because that took your mental capacity and made me like I couldn't form sentences. It made it so that just things were like off for just a little while, praise God, for just a little while. But it was the most terrifying 20 minutes of my life, because before they could get things regulated, everything was like, man, I don't even know if I'm in control of this. I can't put sentences together. At the hospital, they're testing me to see if I was like drunk or whatever, and I'm like, I was embarrassed, and I'm like mad, saying, why are you testing me that I'm drunk or something? I can't help this right now. And then when I came to or whatever, I was like, I told my dad, I said, can we find that doctor who was talking down to me and acting like I was just, calm down, so you're just drunk, more or less. And I'm like, I want to find that guy and talk to him and say, you try going through that and have someone talk to you that way. You know what I mean? I was really, really, because your sense of reality is like, whoa. So when I think of anything reoccurring or anything fears, it's like being trapped in a state where you're not fully able to be you again, if that makes any sense. Like, that's where it's like people are like different kind of medications and stuff. I'm real guarded about that too, because I'm like, I don't want to be what I'm not, for better or worse. Everybody knows this is who I am, for better or worse. I don't want to be some robot or some super mellowed or super high strung, or I just like being what I am. And the fear of losing that identity it's all I've got. I try to be authentically myself, and to be forced to be something else or limited so that you can't be that is a scary thing. So you see those things in this film that made people a little bit crazy. I'm like, yeah, I can relate.
So a couple of scenes that helped me solidify things that I thought about the movie, what it was saying to me, and I guess plot also, story-wise, figuring out what's what, who's who, motivations and such. Some of them are going to overlap here, like the beginning, the Power Ranger scene, the use of 3 right off the bat. The use of color right off the bat, the use of the villain that has one eye, just like Mimania, and seeing through a lens, just like Mimania, just like most of the male characters, looking through glasses, looking through camera lenses, looking through videotape stuff, seeing things through computer screens. So that right off the bat for me gave me some leads to hold on to throughout the movie. The dead fish after the the scene and the rape scene, the idea of loss of innocence right off the bat, of no turning back, of these fish, they weren't floating at the top like you usually see dead fish. They're all floating throughout, kind of like this nebulous thing. and they're all red and blue. The battle of two colors that we spoke about the whole movie. So it was all nebulous, and it gave me this sense of uncertainty, and for it to happen right after this big event in her life was a big telltale for me to say, okay, that was a big moment thematically, and we can use that as an anchor to help pin down some of the other things here. And then I mentioned it before, also the chase scene that was reversed, because Mima was so desperate to catch this entity in the first half of the movie, knocking people over and like not stopping to say sorry or help pick things up either, just knock him over trying to find this person. Don't know what she's going to do when she catches her.
Right.
It's like just like these other characters trying to catch this idea without really being sure what's next. Mm-hmm. And then for it to reverse at the end, where the character's just so obsessed with catching Mima to get rid of her so that she's the only identity that's left out of the two. So that was another anchor for me to pin things down. So that's what I had. All right, the very last bit.
All right.
I had you guys say the 4 words that you thought the movie dealt with the most. Mine was identity, pressure, change, and gaze. Tin Man, you had identity, pressure, obsession, and trauma. K-Max, you had fame, identity, reality, and vicarious. Did any of those change? Would you order them any differently? Any other words that you want to replace with?
I think I'd stick with mine, and I'd keep them in the same order.
I think I would add fame in there.
What would you replace?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe pressure.
Pressure for fame. Okay. I had identity, pressure, change, and gaze.
Do I have identity in mind?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All of us had identity.
That's cool.
I think I might consider adding gaze because that matters so much. Like, the pressure came from there.
Mm-hmm.
It came from, like, the people, the instruments of who was putting the pressure there, and that matters so much for the movie. Mm-hmm. But what would I replace? I don't know. I like all of them, but I think gaze is important. And when you think about it, too, like in real life, that's where a lot of pressure is. It's not real. We perceive it from certain areas.
Right.
It's not, especially for a 54-year-old man, there's not a lot of pressure on me. I mean,
There's a lot of pressure on my knees.
Right, yeah, exactly it. That was kind of him to say my instead of yours. But he's right about, there's when I try to get up from this couch, you're going to see pressure in a minute. But like, and there's pressure on my bladder right now too. But I
got a couple joints replaced between the.
Is that true? Right? Yeah. A 9-inch titanium rod down my femur. You got a new back over there. Uh-huh. Got a fake ear. Between us, we got.
Between us.
Yeah.
I was like that.
We're the healthiest one out of all of us.
But that one joke is like, me and Tom Brady together, we got 7 Super Bowls.
Yeah. That's so good.
Yeah, for mine, I feel like it's close to the word, but I feel like I would put transition instead of change. I think that's what I would do. So I would put identity, pressure, transition, and gaze.
Hmm.
See, I like that. Well, change or like evolve. But it wouldn't be enough to replace any other ones.
I like the subtle change, too. Just the subtle from change to transition. It's like...
Because change has a connotation of you're not that anymore. And transition to me is you're still the same person, but you've undergone metamorphosis. Yeah. So like change is like something different.
They said metamorphosis, right? They said it like somewhere in the beginning. Someone said something.
I don't know if they.
Oh no! There's someone just like, a metamorphosis, huh? Like somebody said that in the, like one of the guys talking in the very beginning before they come out to sing. Somebody says that in there.
Such a really weird group of people in the audience to start the film. I thought.
I wonder if that's like normal for that.
That's us men for you.
Yeah, right?
Dudes, huh?
Dudes be dudes. All right. Any other last words for our last episode of season 3?
This was the
Perfect
result
Blue.
of the fan appreciation. Well, the fan input. This was the result of
Yeah,
it.
we voted, and it was pretty interesting. I think I'm glad we ended up on this one. This was a solid. Our first anime. It's our first. It's not our first animated. We did a couple of animated.
Animated,
movies.
yes, but Japanese like anime.
Anime. This was it, and being a like psychological murder mystery thriller suspense. I
And
enjoyed
none
it.
of us had seen it before.
None of us
so
had seen it or
fresh-
heard of
Yeah,
it before.
seriously, that was that's hard.
perception.
That's hard to do.
Yeah.
Not with me,
So,
but with you two.
We'll say thank you out there, Devin, for
Yes.
Yeah,
bringing this
excellent
in.
job.
This is a good
And thank you to the folks who brought up Frailty, Dogma, Project Hail Mary.
Yeah.
Those were other finalists.
And I've seen
Probably
most
make their
those-
way into
yes.
episodes
Yeah,
in the future.
yeah.
because those are
Secret
also
menu.
very good. Yeah.
Couldn't help but look at the things that the reasons why they wanted us to watch, and how this one was. I gotta say, Dev really gave a good argument of why he wanted us to watch this.
Yeah.
And it was very complimentary, by the way.
Yeah,
I wanted to hear your guys'
Really
take at
threw
this.
a-
And I tried to structure this episode based on that text.
Yeah,
too,
I
of,
saw-
I think you guys could dive into a lot of the themes. I was like, okay, I'll take
Yeah,
most of the
yeah.
episode.
So, the listener, we do take what you say. It matters to us a lot, man. And it drives what we do, and it energizes us. It's so cool. Like, I like Andrew and others with Frailty. Like they thought because they appreciated how we talk about faith and things like that, and they appreciate like with Dogma, there was appreciation for how we can separate like a granular level between institutional religion and personal belief. Like those are two very different things for us, and thanks for the compliment, to listeners to say, I trust you guys to do a pretty good job with this, and I'm interested to see how you guys tackle it. And then hey, for our couple of listeners who actually like blockbusters, I'm with you. We probably will never talk about them, but I am with you.
Episodes.
I'm with you, and hang in there with us because we do like movies. We love them.
So stay tuned. Season 4 TBD, but in the meantime, we'll have sporadic secret menu episodes.
Man.
Stay tuned for that. I already know the first one is going to be a solo one, and it's going to be Jurassic Park. So keep an eye out for that. So secret menu, again, that's going to just be random movies that strike our fancy. It might just be me. It might be 3 of us, might be 2 of us, might be 4 of us. Who knows? So that's in the works. And until then, that's all I got for you guys. Tin Man, any last words?
I'm not saying what is. No, I'm not saying it.
You're supposed to say,
Something about being a slut.
As always,
Like, you're just a dirty tramp or something like that. I forgot what you said.
I was going to say, any last words? Or you'd be like, no, I'm the real thing.
Yeah, it's a good one. That would have been a good one.